Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another segment of the Lunch Table Podcast. Today, due to some inconveniences, I could not get anyone to record this with me. So I will just be speaking on my own about some topics that I would like to cover pretty much, some news in the sports world, and yeah, just basic stuff like that. So the first thing I will cover is going to be Antonio Brown. Okay, so Antonio Brown, he just signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he is going to be teaming up with Tom Brady and Mike Evans and everyone that's playing down there. And in my opinion, that's gonna be it's gonna be a weird fit since they already have a lot of receivers that are good and that are all-star caliber and that like require a lot of touches for them to like be happy on the team, such as Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But I feel like with the addition of Antonio Brown, the whole team is gonna like of course their offense is gonna be even better than what they already were. And I feel like they're gonna be a really big threat in the NFC since they have a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and like their defense is also a very good defense with their run stopping defense. They are also very good, and yeah, that's pretty much it for Antonio Brown. I feel like he's a great fit, and then also Le'Veon Bell. He just recently signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I believe he's playing his first game with them either tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday. I don't know what when they're playing, but yeah, he's going to be playing, and I feel like he's also a pretty good fit with how things are going in Kansas City, such as Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey. Like they're pretty much the only weapons they have on offense. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is a really amazing quarterback and Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. But I feel like they needed to establish the run game a little more since last couple of seasons they've been very uh, pass heavy offense, and like they just needed someone that can allow them to play more smoothly and allow them to have a lot more like play action plays and also be able to run the ball and get himself a score once in a while. And I feel like Le'Veon Bell can provide that for them since he is just a really versatile like runner. Like he's very patient, and when he finds a hole, he just takes it. I know he's regressed a bit ever since leaving Pittsburgh, but I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of a comeback step, and it's gonna lead him in the right direction to become a better player. And speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, I feel like the playoff picture is still not very set. Like, there's not one favorable team that is going to, in my opinion, win it all because all the teams are really good. The Titans are pretty good contenders. The Chiefs, the Ravens, they're all in the AFC though. So that I don't know. The NFC, they have the Buccaneers, and yeah, that's pretty much the only team I see. I don't know what happened to San Francisco this year, honestly. San Francisco was doing great things last year. They started off the year very well. Oh, the Seahawks in the NFC, they could make a really big push with Russell Wilson being an MVP caliber quarterback, and yeah, I feel like the NFC and AFC, the AFC is a little bit more competitive this year, but the NFC is also still has some pretty good teams in there that I feel like still need to prove themselves, such as the Saints. The Saints haven't been playing as well as they want to. That's also due to the fact that Michael Thomas is having some injury problems, and their defense is also like pretty injury prone, as they don't always have the full team and full roster that they want to have. But yeah, that is just my opinion on that. And very soon is coming the NBA draft, and A lot of draft scouts are really like confused on who they believe the number one pick should be, as there is a lot of good talent and there's a lot of hit or miss players. And in my opinion, the safest pick would either be James Wiseman from Memphis or Anthony Edwards from Georgia. In my opinion, those two players are very good at their positions, and I feel like Anthony Edwards is such a great scorer, and I feel like he can become such a great leader for as he became a really good leader for Georgia while in his short time there. And Wiseman, even though he barely played in college, you could see that he was just way more dominant than everyone, and it's just he's like one of those players that like it's either you are going to take a shot at him and he's going to become your franchise player, such as what the Suns were trying to do with DeAndre Ayton, which is kind of working out right now. He's been in a little bit of trouble, but I feel like he has an even higher ceiling than DeAndre Ayton coming out of college. Because even though DeAndre Ayton was like the most dominant big man coming out of college and the most dominant player, I feel like James Wiseman just has like he has the movement and speed of a guard in a 7 footer's body, which is just insane to me how some of these athletes can just be so like back in the 90s the center position was really based on post work and how like heavy a player was and like how they could back him down. Nowadays they require every single player to be able to play and defend every single position, and I feel like it's really led to the development of young athletes as they all need to adjust and adapt and play just attempt to improve on every single category of their game. For example, James Wiseman, he's a 7 footer that literally he needs to be able to shoot the three nowadays because of how much it has expanded throughout the league. And also he needs to be able to defend every single position as the pick and roll is becoming way more effective in the NBA. And it has led to a lot of changes in teams, such as like the Rockets. They were playing small ball this year, and the Warriors have played it before, and it's just great to watch the development of how basketball can change. Like it can change so fast, and people don't even realize it. Like in the mid 2000s, it was more of like the mid range going in the paint, still pretty gritty type of basketball that they were playing in the 90s, just not as aggressive. Like they had settled down on like the fighting and stuff like that, but it was still very aggressive. And then once they applied the rule of no hand checking, I feel like that really changed how players began to play because they had to adjust and adapt to those conditions. Like James Harden, he is a master in the offensive side, and he knows how to like cheat his way into getting a lot of foul calls go his way, which is, to my opinion, is really an amazing thing that he has mastered. And yeah, I gotta give credit to him, even though like a lot of people don't like the way that he plays, and sometimes they can question like, oh, he just shoots so many free throws and like it's really boring to watch him. And his isolation is really good, but I feel like some people like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, his step back is definitely a travel and stuff like that. Like they just try to hate on him, and I won't even lie, I am one of those people. I sometimes don't believe that he's just taking advantage of the rules, and it's just not fun, in my opinion, how someone can just take a just take advantage of the rules so much more than everyone else. And it's just like, I don't know, to me I'm more of like a team watching player. Like of course I love watching the highlights, but I love whenever like a team just passes the ball around and it leads to like they just perform like the extra pass or something like that. It's just like so much more beautiful. Like if you watch European basketball, you can see it like they're much more like team based and not just like they're all not like focused on their ego and like how good they're gonna perform. They're just all worried about like what the team's success is, and they're all it's way more fundamental than here in the United States. In the United States, all they focus on is like athleticism, getting the players to be like as athletic as they can be and as physical as they can be. While in Europe, they really develop like their skills and their basketball IQ in general, and that's why a lot of teams are starting to pick a lot of international players as they believe that they are more mature and more fit to play in the NBA already than some younger college players. As in all the way up to high school and actually their first year of college, probably they don't really like for big men is like you can see it the most that they don't really like develop how to like be smarter in a basketball court. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like they don't realize it's like the smaller things that it's like you can see in the European players that they just I don't know. They just do things that are like it makes sense how they're playing professionally overseas, and it's also very good to see how a kid is performing at such a high level in a professional league where men like grown men are playing against him, which is kind of impressive. It's just also they're realizing that a lot of international players are actually really good. Like of course you have Dirk Nowitzki, Manu Ginobili, a lot of players, and Luka Doncic, Porzingis. A lot of these players like they're all really good, but I feel like nowadays while playing overseas, I think it you have a higher chance of being a uh, I feel like you have a higher chance of being an all-star caliber player if you have like a couple of experience years in Europe, because it's just so different the way that they see the game and the aspects of basketball in general. And yeah, that's why a lot of teams like they're putting LaMelo Ball and RJ Hampton on the top of their list for the draft, because those are two of the players that were playing overseas and they're also playing performing at a very high level and were doing very good things. And also, a lot of players nowadays are choosing, instead of going to college, they're going to the NBA's development league, which is the G League, which, in my opinion, is honestly a great idea, since a lot of these athletes, they get into a lot of scandals that can ruin their careers when they go to college, as a lot of colleges are paying the players illegally for them to come to the college, and then once like the NCAA like starts uh, basically an investigation on them, they can't play anymore, and that's ruined a couple of players' careers in the past. And I feel like this development team that the G League is providing is really good for some athletes that are like, oh, I have the caliber of being a really good player, but I also need to provide for my family. So like they have to make such like important decisions as young kids, and it's just great how they have another option of providing for their family, and it's just great to watch. And yeah. Yeah, so that will be it for this week's podcast, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I was just trying to state my opinion on a couple of things that have been going on around the sports over here. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.